Hello everyone, I'm Paolo and I'm here to tell you all the secrets of PubCoder. In this video, I'm going to talk about the Interactivity Panel. PubCoder makes it easy to enrich content with interactivity by defining a set of actions that each object can perform in response to certain events, such as a tap on the screen or the shaking or tilting of the device. All this can be done using the Interactivity Panel placed to the right of the stage. The panel is divided into two sections. Events are generally speaking related to direct user input, such as touch or swipe, and relate specifically to objects in the stage. Selecting an event displays the series of actions that will be executed when the event occurs. There are actions that can only correspond to a specific event, such as the drag object action, that corresponds only to the drag event, and actions that can belong to multiple events, such as the show object action. To add an action first, you have to choose the event to which it should belong and click Add New Action. Let's animate one of the pages in this project. On this page, I would like to have a background showing with a fade in on loading. Select the background, hide it from the stage by enabling the Hidden option from the selection window. Next, using the Interactivity panel, choose the Load event and add the Show object action. Each action has properties. The first one is the target, which refers to the object we are animating. In this case, having already selected the background, the target object will be self. The second option of the show object action is the list of modes we want the object to be shown on the screen. There are several types of effects listed to choose from. We choose the fade in. At the bottom, you can then define the duration of the animation. By previewing, you can check how the animation works, in this case for 3 seconds. The second object to be animated on this page is the rocket. This will be the user's interaction element. By tapping on the object, the rocket will move off the page from the top and return to its initial position from the bottom of the page. To do this, we need to add a number of actions. Let's start with the move object action. Let's add this action to the tap event and set its different options. The first one is the target object, the second is the mode, which tells how the element will be moved. The object can move to a fixed position or to an incremental position, meaning it will always move by the same number of pixels, or it can return to the previous or initial position. We choose to move it to a fixed position of the screen. At this point, we need to set the position in pixels. We can set the pixels directly in the space dedicated to the axis of epsilons, or make it calculate automatically by the software by dragging the object to the desired position on the stage. At this point, we choose the duration of the action and the type of acceleration. We can choose from different types. For example, slow at the end or slow at the beginning, etc. Once we have moved the object outside of the visible page on screen, we will add another action that moves it back onto the screen. For convenience, we have prepared a copy of the rocket and placed it outside of the visible screen at the bottom. By selecting the first rocket, we add an action to allow time to pass before letting the rocket return to its initial position. Then we add the wait action and set it to 2.3 seconds, setting the time between the first and the second action. At the bottom, we add a third action, which will allow us to move the second rocket to the initial position of the first one. At this point, we add the move object action, the target object being rocket object number 2. After setting the target object, we define the position it should take, the duration, and the acceleration. The rocket animation is complete. To make it more engaging, we can add audio that simulates the rocket's departure. We do this by adding the play audio file action. To let the audio start along with the movement of the first rocket, we will connect the two actions to make them run simultaneously. To make sure that the end user understands that by touching the rocket, something will happen, we can add to the loading event one or more actions on the rocket itself to draw the user's attention to the object. In this case, we will scale the rocket several times so that it appears that something is going on there. Select the object and add a first action scale object to the load event so that the rocket enlarges to defined value. The standard defined size of the object is 1, so if we want to enlarge it, we add a value higher than 1. In this case, we add 1.08. For this action, we have different options to choose from. The mode is whether the object should scale by an absolute value or it should be incremental. The duration of the action, in this case we set it to 0.3 seconds. The acceleration that defines the type of movement the object will have. And the origin that defines the point from which the object will be scaled. The center, at the bottom, etc. We then add another action, scale object, which will allow us to make sure that the object will return to its original size. In this case, I leave 1 in the horizontal scale and vertical scale options. Having animated the object, we add the repeat actions action, which will allow us to decide how many times these actions should be repeated. Let's preview the animation of the newly animated page. First, you see background fading in, and at the same time, the rocket will perform the action set to attract the user's attention. At this point, upon tap on the rocket, its animation will start. This is obviously a small part of how on-page objects can be animated. It is important to understand how PubCoder's event action model works. All objects on the page can be animated, they can be interactive, and they can also interact with each other. Before you start making your project interactive, we recommend to define a storyboard for each page and figure out what actions will enrich your project.